All right, so welcome along everyone to another episode of Championship Drill with myself, with Phil, with Jerry. Lot of goals yesterday. Did you enjoy the games, the highlights, everything that went on yesterday?
Loved it. Friday night was immense. I actually watched football Friday night as well, and it was great, absolutely great weekend of football, and more to come.
Yeah, it was actually, me. We'll talk about it later, but Millwall scored 4 goals. It was crazy.
Yeah. Madness.
Shock.
Absolute madness. We usually at the start of the show we talk about something, but so much happened yesterday. We'll just go into the games and we'll talk about them as they come up throughout the games, because it had everything yesterday, from a goalkeeper sitting down against the post and being stretchered off to, like you said, Millwall scoring 4 goals. There's a lot happened. We'll start, I suppose, you talked about there, Jerry, on Friday night. Wasn't the best game to watch in some ways, but I think if you're like a fan of football, Swansea's game plan just absolutely stifled Norwich.
Yeah.
They just stopped Cant while playing. Beneda wasn't there. Ayew with a goal that Tim Krul will not want to see again right before halftime. And then Hourihane with his third in 3 games, and he's been some signing for them with a great.
He's been an unbelievable signing.
How did you feel watching this one? Did you, like, once they were 2-0 up, did you feel that was it, or did you think Norwich?
I did actually. Yeah.
I said it before the game. I predicted Swansea to win. I actually think I predicted them to win 2-0 as well. I could be wrong, but I think I did. But they're fantastic. They look so dangerous, and we're watching, the likes of Norwich crumble a small bit, like Bournemouth. There's teams that have been on the top all season that are kind of crumbling, and I reckon Swansea, they'll definitely finish in the top 6, but I have a sneaky feeling, lads, that they will get a top 2 spot.
They could.
Yeah, I mean, to get into the top 2, this was a big win for them, because if they'd lost this one, there'd have been like a gap between them and Norwich again. But now they win their game in hand, they go above Norwich, and then Norwich could be the team who are playing catch up. They could be 3rd.
Yeah, I'm actually worried about Norwich right now.
Yeah.
Cookie's hitting blanks, Conor Horry, to get Conor in when they did, it was probably the best deal in the championship, if you ask me, lads. Like, Villa are 5th or they're 6th, or maybe they're small, but no. But to get Conor in, and he's got 3 and 3.
Yeah.
It's immaculate. Like, he's playing that kind of key role there in the middle of the park. But like Kyle Lochte, Ryan Bennett, lads, they're serious defenders for Swansea. Ayew is just a legend.
Yeah.
Kind of showing a lot of loyalty. Like Jamal Lowe is a good player, but they just look very dangerous. They look like the old Swansea that we know. And as I said, they're really pushing up that table. And I reckon if they get into a position where they're in that top 2, which is on the brink, I personally reckon it'll take a lot to knock them out. They've had a lot of heartbreak the last couple of seasons, but I really believe Swansea will be very hard to beat now going forward.
I want to make a bold prediction and say Brentford, Swansea automatic.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably not what the other teams want to hear, because, you'd imagine Norwich would beat most of the other teams in the playoffs. But you never know. It depends. They're not scoring goals at the moment, and that's going to be the biggest thing.
No goals in 5 or something.
Yeah,
it's crazy amount. I think they really do miss Beneda when he's not there, because mad stat is that in the last year, I think it is, or since he came to Norwich, actually, he's created more chances than any other player in English football.
Yeah.
And to not have him in your team for a couple of games was, going to struggle.
It's like, I mean, there's always that one player, Steve, as you know, that can make that difference. Someone that can switch it on. If over the years, Overmars, like Gerrard, Henry. He's that player for them. And when they see he's not on that team, I suppose it affects him a small bit, because he's just that good.
Yeah,
it is. And it's like one of those, if a team decides, look, we're going to try and stop him playing, so we'll put 2 players near him, then that gives Cantwell so much space to do what he does. And that's what makes Norwich so dangerous when they're both in the team. But when one of them is missing, it becomes a bit easier to play against Norwich. And Swansea, like you said, Jerry, so good at the back. They were just able to come up with a game plan, and they just stuck to it, tried to hit hit the Norwich on the break, which they did a couple of times. Well, they did for the Hourihane goal anyway. The first one was from a corner, but yeah,
they're fantastic. And look, the goal difference just speaks for itself. Like, I think they're on 20 goal difference, and I think Brentford are 24, 25. They're scoring goals. Norwich are I think their goal difference is a lot lower. They have the game in hand with Brentford, so you know when they play them games in hand, we could see Norwich drop to number 3 or number 4. You know, and I reckon if Swansea and Brentford get into that position, yet again, it'll be very hard to knock these lads out. You know, it's getting really exciting, I must say.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. We move on then to the second game, which was Coventry and Watford. And I know after the game, when they lost to QPR, their manager, Watford's new manager, who Phil Bowley predicted is going to be sacked this week.
Yeah.
And he could be. But he promised they'd be better, and they really weren't. I think Deeney had a header in the second half, and that was about it for Watford going forward. Coventry had the better chances. Biamou, Hammer, and O'Hare had a great shot on the run. And O'Hare, again, he was brilliant again yesterday.
Yeah.
But Coventry will probably be disappointed they didn't win this one.
Yeah, Watford was shocking.
You know,
Troy Deeney hit the bar right once.
Yeah, I think that was about it. That was as good as it got for them. And like I said, Biamou, I think, fired wide. Hammer hit one at the goalkeeper. O'Hare cut inside once. A nice shot in his left foot that the keeper got down well to. I don't know. O'Hare as well, just combined there with Hammer for another chance as well. There was really, really nice interplay between the two of them. Yeah. And I don't know, O'Hare the last few weeks is just like he was at the start of the season, doing really, really well for them. And we have looked into it. He does qualify to play for Ireland. He is only 22 years of age.
Yeah.
And I think he has talked in the past that he'd be willing to come and play for Ireland. So with the internationals coming up, surely he has to be someone they have a chat with.
100%. News Talk were actually on about it yesterday, Steve. They were on about him, and they were on about Philip Neville's son. And obviously they reckon that, obviously Phil Neville's son, if he does make that breakout, he'll end up playing with England. But O'Hare will opt for Ireland, and that's huge boost for Stephen Kenny. Now is the time to make the move.
Massive. Like, he reminds me, even though they played in different roles at this age of their career, he reminds me of Wes Hourihane. Hourihane obviously started out as a winger in the League of Ireland before he kind of moved into that number 10 role. But they're very similar in the way they're just so neat and tidy on the ball, and their vision to be able to pick a pass. Yeah. And 22 years of age, he is going to be a massive coup for Ireland. So
huge, massive. Yeah. But yeah, that as I said, the Watford manager could get the sack today. He could be having his Sunday roast and.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And I think listening to Nigel Pearson talking about taking the Watford job and saying, look, he knew what he got himself into. He knows the reputation of the club, and managers know that they're under real pressure there, that they could be gone at any moment. Yeah, and that can't be easy to manage under. I'd say that if you're going a bad run of form, you're just thinking, well, I'm going to be gone anyway, and I don't know if the motivation there then to turn things around.
Yeah. They shouldn't really drop out of that top 6, to be honest. Like, I think they're still 3-4 points clear.
They're doing well, yeah. But the worrying thing is their home form, which has really, really been very, very good, and their away form has just been bad. That if the home form now starts to drop, that's where they could be in trouble.
Yeah. They were really bad yesterday.
Very poor, and that's 2 games in a week they haven't been good in.
Yeah.
So we'll see can they improve.
It's worrying times, though, because as you say, if Watford don't make that top 6, that's when they dismantle. That's when they like to try Deeney, Sarr. They're losing 3 or 4 big boys. Now Watford and West Brom are always bankers to go back up into the Premier League. They're probably the most consistent to get relegated and come back up. But Watford will lose 2 or 3 big names.
Yeah.
If they don't come up.
If not
that's
more.
the problem. Yeah.
I suppose those teams that are sitting in the playoffs at the moment can count themselves lucky that some of the chasing pack, like Blackburn, has slipped up a couple of times recently. Middlesbrough haven't won in 6 or something like that. Stoke haven't won in 10. Those teams are still hanging outside the playoffs, but their form hasn't been great. If like Stoke or Middlesbrough had picked up like 2 or 3 more wins, which they haven't done, so they can count themselves lucky. One team that were very close to dropping out, and one we'll come on to next. Obviously, Barnsley Derby, that game was postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. Derby seemed to be finding all the waterlogged pitches this week. But there we go. The Bournemouth, Birmingham. This was a strange game.
Yeah.
Watched a lot of the highlights of it. Birmingham absolutely hammered them early on.
Yeah.
Had so many chances. I think was it Cook cleared one off the line with a header.
Yeah.
You know, there was a couple of scrambles in the box, and eventually then Hogan, you know, tapped in after Gardner. Good work from him to get it in.
What a mistake by the keeper.
Yeah, it was horrific. Absolutely horrific. Again, isn't it 2 in a week now that he's after the one that just rolled under him midweek as well.
Yeah.
You know, so that's got to stick with him. Wilshere, that's Begovic, of course, and goal for Bournemouth. And, you know, he's a lot of experience. You don't expect him to make those mistakes every week. But Jack Wilshere then kind of took the game by the scruff of the neck somewhat. Good run for Danjuma, but, you know, he still left Danjuma with a bit to do, cut inside and a great finish.
Yeah.
Again, you know, it wasn't hit that hard. The keeper will be a bit disappointed. I think his positioning wasn't the best, but there you go. Then Wilshere with a really nice headed goal. He just sent it back across the other way. I think he fooled the keeper completely, who thought he was going to head it down.
Yeah.
And
a nice header.
He reads the game so well. He reads the game so well, and it's fair to say it was the Wilshere show in this game.
It was. And obviously for Bournemouth, he's still coming back. He hasn't played a lot of football, so he's still only going to be getting the 60, 65 minutes most games until he gets that fitness up fully again.
He was still a bench yesterday, though.
Yeah.
I
mean, they conceded so many chances yesterday. Hogan then got an equaliser with another nice header, a nice glanced-on header.
Before the equaliser, didn't Birmingham score a goal that was disallowed?
They had one that was disallowed for offside as well. Yeah,
very close.
It was tight, but he was probably just off. Again, it's one of those where the only angle we have is not straight in line. It's at a weird 45-degree angle, so it's hard to call when you're looking back at it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Encouraging Scotland, though. Definitely with Hogan getting 2 goals like he's meant to do, you know. But it was a strange game, all right, Stephen, Phil. You know, it's as I said, if Wilshere made a difference, like 100%.
We were talking yesterday about Birmingham. If they played that well, they must be disappointed.
Yeah.
They played well, and they still lost. But the goal, they'll be really disappointed with the goal that, you know, ultimately won it for Bournemouth. Danjuma, who was brilliant as well yesterday, it must be said.
Yeah.
He terrorised them down the wing. He put a ball across the box that Billing was able to tap in at the back post. How it went that far without anybody getting near it is beyond me. Yeah. And how Billing was allowed that much room.
Yeah.
There wasn't a player, I'd say, within 3 yards of him.
Yeah.
And he was, about 2 yards from goal when he tapped it in?
Not even, about 1 yard.
Yeah, it wasn't the best defending in the world from Birmingham. I think that will disappoint the manager as much as anything else. Because they had a chance to, you know, get a nice away draw to Bournemouth, bit of confidence. As it is, they lose, and because of other results, they're now in the relegation zone. So.
Yeah, I think they're in big trouble.
Big trouble, yeah. I agree, 100%. And it's a shame, but they've done nothing at that club for the last year or two, you know. It's
them and Wickham are 2 of the teams that are definitely gone.
Yeah, they're in a lot of trouble. And, you know, there's, you know, Derby not playing. Derby, they're really going to be up against it too. If Sheffield Wednesday are in trouble too, but you know, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens, I suppose, when it comes to the relegation. It's going to be exciting down at the bottom as much as it is at the top at the moment, because there's not many points between those teams at the bottom.
Yeah. It's going to be 2
other than Wickham, who were
last day of the season, second last day of the season, I'm telling you, we're going to be on the edge of our seats.
Absolutely. We move on then to Mick McCarthy and his first win as a Cardiff manager. It was their longest run in 5 years without a win coming into this one. And obviously he'd drawn the first 2 games. Cardiff score more goals from set pieces than any other team in the Championship. And Bristol City know that. Everyone knows that. So they're going to be really disappointed with that first goal.
Yeah, it was really bad defending.
You know, Nelson with the header, and it was just, it wasn't marked at all. You know, Wilson set that one up. Wilson was very, very good again yesterday. He was kicked all over the park yesterday, but he did okay. And then added another one with Ojo, who's on loan from Liverpool, I believe, isn't he? We've talked about him before. Put in a nice cross for Moore at the back post. Yeah. Great header from Moore down into the ground. Keeper doesn't have a hope. Strange one though, because Phillips came on for his debut and goal for Cardiff after Smithies went down. It was a strange one because Lansbury, who was making his debut, Henry Lansbury for Bristol City, was getting ready to line up a free kick, and suddenly Smithies just called the ref's attention and just kind of leaned up against the goalpost, feeling sick. And the paramedics came on. They were attending to him for about 8 minutes. Phillips had to come on goal. Smithies was stretchered off. Now he was sitting up, and I think it was a case of he just wasn't feeling well, because I haven't seen much since.
Yeah.
Anyone talking about what's happened to him or anything like that. But play resumed. Lansbury hit the free kick. Phillips saved it, and Bristol didn't really do much. I think Ayew had one near the end where he was, had a good chance, but he slipped as he was going to kick it, and that was the end of that chance. But
yeah, it's it was a strange one. Obviously, seeing that, it's not a good sign. When a game stalled for so many minutes, you sometimes think the worst, because there's been scenarios over the years in football. But hopefully he's all right. Big concern for a lot of the players and the fans. But it's I suppose a good win for Big Mick on his birthday as well, which was incredible. So happy birthday, Big Mick.
Yeah. And it's a win Cardiff needed, really, to just make sure they don't get sucked into that relegation battle.
Yeah.
Because, again, Cardiff are probably, like you were talking about, Jerry, about the goal for Nottingham Forest this season will be to stay up and then build on it. And Cardiff, I'm sure, are in the same boat. Let's just make sure we stay in the division. And next season, then we'll build.
Yeah.
And, but Bristol City in real trouble. 4 defeats in their last 5 home games.
Yeah. The thing is, they're the kind of team that could go on the run again. We've always said this loads of times, but they could go on the run.
Yeah, but
I forget how much possession they had yesterday, but it was high. It was about 68, 69% of the ball or something. It was pretty high, and they just didn't do anything with it.
Yeah,
much at the end. It's Bristol are a good club, and we did give them, we regarded them highly at the start of the season when we spoke about them, But as I say, it's just it's a grueling season, and we're seeing who's made of rock at the moment, and they're in trouble. They won't get relegated, but look, they really need to start getting a few wins out. But Cardiff are on the up, and I reckon next season we're going to see Houghton and Mick McCarthy bringing a number of Irish boys, and it's good news for the Irish lads, and they could challenge next season. I know I'm jumping the gun, but it's the championship, Give the manager a bit of time, and they'll turn things around. And I think Forest and Cardiff they'll be dangerous teams next season.
Yeah, I think so. I think you have 2 good managers at those clubs, and Cardiff are not even a year removed from being in the playoffs, so it's not like they're a bad team. They just need to kind of get going and maybe have 1 or 2 in, like you said. Maybe he'll bring in a couple of the Irish lads he knows or whatever, and get them going again, because Cardiff are a big club as well. So hopefully they start firing from here on out now, and a good run for the Irish lads in the championship next season.
Yeah, exactly.
Under the managers. Move on then to another Irish lad who got I think was his 10th of the season yesterday. Luton and Huddersfield 1-1. James Collins, I think it was his 10th goal of the season. Knocked one in. A good ball, but they kind of let Collins run on him, and he just hit it in. Potts very unlucky not to have them 2 up before half time. Huddersfield looked much more dangerous the second half. I think Pippa had one fired wide. Holmes forced an excellent save out of Sluga, and then Collins had a chance to make it 2-0. Just couldn't get to the cross. Just couldn't turn it in. He couldn't get enough on it. One of those ones where he needed to be another couple of inches tall, I think, and he'd have been all right.
Yeah.
So Naby Sarr then free kick. Keeper probably should have done better.
Yeah. It was very he took a shot and he kind of couldn't control it.
Yeah, and Sarr was there to just tap it home. Then in stoppage time, Toffolo, who was very good for Huddersfield yesterday, it has to be said, got sent off for a lunge on Ray, who, I don't know, looking back in it looks almost like he slipped. Yeah. But the way he slipped, both his feet went into the air, so it looked like he jumped in 2-footed.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
And then it was Ray, then ironically, very, very late on, the guy that he tackled, that got his head to a brilliant ball in, and it just, keeper was completely beaten, and it just came back off the post.
Yeah.
point each, fair result, maybe.
Right there. Luton are a team that are just going to should be delighted with where they are. They really should.
Yeah. Collins,
they probably have better chances.
I think next season they're going to be in trouble again, though.
Luton, you never know. You never know who they bring in. Good manager there who knows the club as much as anything else, which is always handy. I mean, these are two teams now that are kind of just going to stay around mid-table by the looks of it.
Yeah.
They'll be happy with that.
They will.
Collins, lads. Like Collins doesn't get enough appreciation. I know he's got a hat-trick already this season. Great player, and he's very underappreciated. Like, he's not talked about as much as he should be. But he's doing a good job at Luton, and he's partially one of the reasons they're doing all right this season. So credit to James Collins.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, without him, Luton don't score a lot of goals.
Yeah,
they don't really have guys that chip in.
Does he get games for Ireland? Not really.
The odd time. They've used him a lot as like a hold-up man. The old days, but like it's the same kind of when you think of Hogan as well, who's doing okay this season. I think he's got 8 goals this season. Yeah. He's another guy that kind of doesn't really get much of a look in at the Irish team.
Yeah.
And when you think of like Shane Long, started yesterday for Bournemouth and didn't really, get many efforts on goal. I think one Wiltshire played him in and Long got the shot on target that was kind of well saved. He was kind of forced a bit wide from the path. But there's not a lot of Irish strikers that are playing week in, week out, other than these lads in the Championship.
That's it.
So surely it's one of them should be getting the nod. They're playing every week. They're scoring goals.
Yeah, I think so. I think like even a man Curtis, I know we're dropping the league, but Curtis there at Portsmouth, like he's doing very good. Like
he scored again yesterday.
Yeah, he's constantly scoring. I think Collins, like if I was a manager, like because we're not really producing many Premier League players. Obviously, Seamus Coleman's there now, and we've Kevin Lannon a couple of lads. But I would throw the scores in. I'd have Curtis and Collins start the next one.
Yeah, I mean you do have Aaron Connolly, I suppose, at Brighton, who's kind of in and out of that team. But you definitely played like Sir Collins and Hogan over lads that are sitting on the bench in the Premier League.
Exactly. Like Shane Long shouldn't start for Ireland anymore.
No, until he gets a run of games now at Bournemouth maybe, and if he starts scoring goals again, get his confidence up. But I mean, go with the lads that are playing.
Yeah, definitely. Why put a player that's after getting 14 goals in League One or 12 goals, 10 goals in the Championship? Why put him on the bench when you have a Premier League player that's not firing blanks in the Premier League? Confidence is everything, and it doesn't matter what kind of a play you are. Like in England, the League One, Championship are probably they're tough leagues. You know what I mean? So I would start Collins and Curtis in the next game. Now I know we're off the ball a bit, but look, they deserve a chance.
Especially if they're friendly. Are they friendly games next month?
Yeah.
I assume they are. I mean, they're not starting the qualifiers yet, so they must.
But they don't do friendlies anymore. They do that.
Well, the league thing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But we'll move on. So I suppose to another game instead. It was kind of a scoreline that was a little undeserved, even though it wasn't really because they took their chance as well.
Yeah, I thought Middlesbrough could have easily been ahead 2-1.
It could have been, it could have been. And I mean, it could have been 4-4 this one, if not for Ray and goal for Bournemouth or for Brentford, who even after the match, as manager said, was their man of the match. Brentford he
was outstanding. There was 2 saves. I don't know how he saved the second one.
I have no idea. There was a double save.
Yeah, the double save one.
From Bologna had a shot, and it came back to Saville. And I don't know how he got up to save Saville's shot, because Saville was like trying to put it in the top corner off the rebound.
Yeah.
And then later on, there was another double save that he made, and then there was another one that Saville hit on him, and he managed to save it. I don't know how he did it. Belassi had another good shot that he saved. Ray was he was unbelievable yesterday to keep her out. And all that after a ridiculous start for him, where he almost bicycally kicked the ball into his own net.
Yeah. It's lads. Brentford are a pleasure to watch. Absolute pleasure to watch. They deserve to come up and get into the Premier League after last season. Ivan Toney is just, every show we mention him, lads, it's very rare we mention him. He is just the informed striker at the moment. And
he got 2 goals yesterday, and both of them kind of 2 of the easier goals he scored.
That pass was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Which one?
The chest pass.
That was brilliant to set up their Janssen, was it? No, not Janssen. Set up himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. I mean, 22 goals he's got.
What age?
24.
24 only. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's something else. And
he's very, very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Brilliant to watch.
There's a lot of teams looking at trying to sign him, and they're going to have to pay a lot of money for him. I know there was talk of the likes of Arsenal looking at him to replace Lacazette because he does a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
In terms of holding up the ball and that.
He'll be 40 million easily.
He will be, and that's and that's the way Brentford do business. They'll take that, then they'll buy someone for about 15 who'll just step in and do the same things again.
Curtis.
Yeah, the way they're able to just find players is unbelievable. But I suppose
they as you say, like you remember the players Arsenal brought in over the years. Brentford the exact same. They have the most amazing scouts out there to look and find these players.
It's unbelievable because you think of, was it 27 goals Ollie Watkins scored in the league last season?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, how are they going to replace that? And now with like 19 games left, Tony is 5 goals off what Watkins scored in the whole of last season.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's crazy. He's going to score like 35 to 40 goals this season probably by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah. Did he hit the hat-trick this season? I don't think has he hit the hat-trick?
He hasn't got a hat-trick yet. He scored 2 a lot, and he's going to get the hat-trick. Yeah. Borough very unlucky though, like you said here. And was it the second goal or the third goal? I can't remember where McNair slipped.
The last one, I think.
One before that, it was very unlucky. Like
third goal,
very, very.
Oh, you're right. The third one.
Third one, like when it was 2-1 and the game was still there for Borough, because they were, like we said, Ray made some great saves.
Yeah.
But that was really unlucky for McNair to just slip. Conditions weren't brilliant, but to just slip when you're the last man, there's nothing worse because you're just on the ground looking at the player running through.
Yeah.
It was a Jensen's goal, I think that one. Yeah. Strange one, but great win again for Brentford.
Huge.
Who just October 24th, the last time they've lost the match in the league.
Yeah, they're playing support.
20-something games. They're the longest team in England, I think, with an unbeaten record.
Yeah. I mean, they're a point behind Norwich now with a game in hand, which is midweek away to Reading.
Yeah.
And Borough are still 7th, despite the fact that they haven't won in 6. That they've one win, I think, in 6 games. Yeah. Borough are still 7th in the table. And, they're 5 points behind Bournemouth.
I say Warnock not too happy about that, lads, but it's Borough have surpassed what we said they were going to do. At one stage, we thought they were in big trouble. Yeah. But look, they can really bounce back. As I said, look, they're just kind of within touch distance. Rack up 2-3 wins, then, we're off in a different moves, bro.
That's it, exactly.
That's it. I mean, they're like we said, they're still only 1 place and 5 points outside the playoffs, even though they've only won 1 in 6.
Yeah.
So their form turns around because those teams that are kind of between 4th, 5th, and 6th, their form has been very up and down lately.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll go on then to the one Phil mentioned earlier in the day, which is Millwall Sheffield Wednesday. 4 goals for Millwall. Finally a few of them. But Peterson, his 7th of the season.
Woeful defending.
Yeah. It was poor defending, and Millwall must have feared the worst because they don't win at home this season at all. And then a foul on Ryan, that's a horse score from the spot. And then Westwood, we talked about him during the week. He just kept Millwall out in that first half.
Yeah. And
for so long, it was just Millwall against Westwood. And Bovarsson and Hutchinson then with, I think it was 2 goals in a minute. One of them was a strange kind of a cross.
Yeah, it was a weird one. He looked like he was passing it, but it just went in. It
kind of caught Westwood unawares. But those 2 goals, like on 68, 69 minutes, finished it off, really. Bradshaw made it 4 later on. A few draws on the bounce for Millwall before this one, so a good win for them again. Is they're another team, I suppose, that'll hope to go on a run and will just be happy enough to just stay in the division this season and look to next season. Maybe bring in, a goal scorer, although scoring 4 yesterday. They'll hope some of the players can kick on. Wednesday, though, have been in decent form. But they need to get back there.
They have a manager out there.
No, they still have your man in as a caretaker at the moment.
Yeah. They need a manager in
They
there.
were just yeah. I mean, they were just totally outplayed in the game yesterday. There's, they have to hold their hands up to that one.
Yeah.
But they need to start getting the wins again and putting the pressure on because the teams around them are winning, which is kind of strange.
Yeah.
That's it, exactly.
Who is like, I wonder, will Joey Barton or someone up there?
Yeah, it's a strange one. It's strange that
you actually never know.
It's like they haven't had, a manager for a while. I don't know, are they just planning to stick with this guy as long as they can because the form hasn't been bad.
Yeah.
And just maybe in the summer see have they been relegated or not, and then decide.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a strange one though. It's a strange. I think if they go off and they lose their next game and the one after that, then they'll definitely be looking to bring someone in straight away.
I think so.
But we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like Darren Moore is linked to it for ages.
He is, but I mean, if he's in that kind of situation of like he's doing so well where he is at Doncaster, does he think we might go up, they might go down?
And like in League One as well, the manager Lincoln must surely be someone looking at.
Yeah. But again, it's one of those where going to a club that would be a bigger club, but do they want to leave and then
if you put it into perspective, like as you say, if he gets Doncaster up, he's an absolute legend at Doncaster. But like you leave Doncaster, you have the Doncaster fans saying, right, F you, goes to Sheffield Wednesday then and
they get relegated.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's a lose-lose. I'd stay at Doncaster, to be honest. Yeah. He's a smart manager. Like, I think he's got a big future in the game more as a manager. So I'd stay at Doncaster. Joey Barton would pick up that Sheffield Wednesday job because he's doing nothing.
Yeah.
You would be surprised.
I'm telling you, mark my words.
That's it. Move on then to Preston and Rotherham. In this one, Rotherham have been in very, very, very good form. And another win for them.
Yeah, like they're really good. They have so much confidence now. So
yeah.
And I mean, he was able to rest players yesterday and they still picked up the win.
Yeah.
But what an awful start. It was about 15 seconds. I think they put down to 17 seconds officially on the clock. Straight from the kickoff. A cross came in. Rafferty with a beautiful Michael Dewberry-esque diving header into his own net.
Yeah.
15 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
And, I mean, horrible start for Preston. But then they dominated really most of that half. Malumbi had a chance. Johansson and goal made a couple of saves. But then again, they just kind of fell asleep. And then Willie's got a goal. Again, not great defending. Yeah. Not good defending at all, really. And it was 2-0 to Rotherham. Ched Evans did pull one back with about 20 minutes left.
Yeah.
Rotherham held on. There was Scott Sinclair put one in that was ruled offside. That was probably just about offside.
Yeah, it was very close.
We have that horrible angle where we can't look across, so you've got to give the linesman the benefit of the doubt there because he is looking straight across.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good window for Rotherham. They're up into 20th now out of the relegation zone. They still have a couple of games.
How are Preston 11th?
It's just their away form early on in the season. That's what it was when they win something like 8 or 9 of their first 10 away games. One thing I wanted to ask you both though is, I suppose Preston are 11th at the moment, 9 points outside the playoffs, and the manager is definitely going to stay till the end of the season.
Yeah.
Will he be the manager in the first game of next season?
I think he is.
You think so?
Yeah.
All depends on who's around. Do you know, it's if fans are back in the stadium, then I'd say that he will stay. But it just depends who's around, Steve. Who's available? Who, if there's a manager that's knocking on the door and he has that appeal, then you go for him. But Jesus, they're blessed to be where they are in the league. You know what I mean? They have a huge squad. Like the in-depth squad of Preston Preston have some squad. You know what I mean? So it's they're underachieving. But yet again, the manager is decent. He's been in the Premier League. So I don't know. It's a tricky one.
What they did in January is that going to count against them? I think 8 players out and 8 players in. That's a massive turnover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose they made a few quid though. With Ben Davis going, and they've obviously made a few pounds, you know. But it's they're just a club that we love to watch because obviously there's so many Irish connections and you know there's a lot of Irish lads in the squad. But I mean, Phil said it, like how they are where they are. It's mad. I know they've won so many away games. Look, fans aren't in the game, and I know fans make a huge difference.
Oh, they'd be booed off the pitch every week.
Yeah,
so I mean, their home form has been awful all season.
You know, so it's the case. Hopefully, come September, August, that you know fans will get back into the stadium, and you know we'll give you one more bash, buddy. But if you're not good enough, come January, you're definitely getting sacked.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming to the stage now where they need to be pushing for the playoffs next season at the minimum.
Yeah,
with the squad they have.
Yeah.
We'll move on then to a team that are in kind of a good run of form and another kind of knockback for Blackburn, who seem to be pushing towards the playoffs, and then they get a couple of defeats. It seems to be the way they're going all season. But QPR playing better lately. Kind of a win against the run of play in some ways because Blackburn were much better after they conceded.
Yeah.
Barber with the goal, absolutely horrific defending though.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
I had a feeling QPR beat them, to be honest.
Yeah, but it was one of those games, though, really, wasn't it, where Blackburn had a lot of chances and they just didn't take them, really. Armstrong, his pace was good. Harvey Elliott had a good chance that he fired over. Dieng saved well from Armstrong, and then Holtby followed up another shot blocked by Dickey. I don't know. Dieng was just good all day, really, except near the end. I think he dropped one to Gallagher. But a last-ditch challenge from Lee Wallace kind of saved them that time. Tough loss for Blackburn because they played well, they just didn't take their chances.
Yeah. We said last week, if you remember, QPR will win 3-4 games in a row and then lose 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
It's bare bet was the difference there for QPR. Obviously, got a good goal.
Yeah.
But like Armstrong was a lot quieter than normal. Harvey Elliott, like he was kind of a wire. But like QPR they just show how frustrating they are. Like, you know what I mean? They can win and beat the big teams and they lose then against the Wickhams and all that, you know? It's mad. It's mad. There's no balance there, like.
That's it.
No. And it's, good win for QPR, who are another team that needed a couple of wins to just make sure they're not dragged down to the bottom.
Yeah.
But, Blackburn were on a charge for the playoffs. And again, they're just, after stalling there now yesterday, and it seems to be the way it's gone for them all season, where they go on these great runs. I mean, I think they're the second highest scorers in the league behind Brentford, so they can't put the ball in the net.
Yeah,
so we move on. He is, and like we said, Elliott has been very good since he came in as well. They just come off day yesterday, I suppose. They can't, score goals every week. They'll probably come out now next week and hammer somebody 5-0.
That's it.
When they suddenly all their shots go in. And there's usually a 0-0 somewhere along the line. And we had one yesterday at Stoke who just don't score enough goals, really, but they're so hard to beat.
They draw so many games.
Yeah, I mean, they're ninth, they're 6 points from the playoffs, yet they haven't won in 10.
Yes, nice.
Reading are 4th.
How are they there that high?
So many draws, like you said. I mean, they haven't won in 10, but they haven't lost that many of those either.
Yeah, they're about 8 draws.
Yeah, Reading are 4th after this draw. Wasn't really great. Nothing really happened until Fletcher put the ball in the net, but was judged to be offside. Very tight call again.
Yeah. Because
I'm not 1,000,000% from the angle we had convinced the ball went forward from McLean.
Yeah.
But
it was
the
close.
linesman doesn't have. So I suppose we have to go with the lines on that one. It was a nice finish too, a nice overhead kick from Fletcher. McLean then went down in the box. He was booked for diving for that one. Bat had a chance for Stoke before half-time. It was blocked for a corner. And then Ejaria kind of grew into the game for Reading. I know he had a shot laid on that was saved by Gunn. And Ejaria as well had a chance to play Joe in. And, he just overhit the pass, which was kind of unfortunate. I think Joe had one shot as well that he nearly put out of the stadium at some stage in the game as well.
It was a great game overall, though.
No, it wasn't. I think Cousins had one at the end where I think he got his head to it, and It was an easy enough save, really, to be fair.
Yeah, both teams probably should have. I don't know. I think the point doesn't do Reading that much. Like they needed a win.
Doesn't do much for either. Doesn't do much for either team, really. I suppose keeps Reading in the playoffs. It's another point for them.
Yeah.
Doesn't help Stoke get closer to Bournemouth, and it's but neither team deserved to win it because neither of them created much.
No.
Yeah, just a flat game. It's a typical fixture in Stoke. It was, but they haven't got the firepower. Like McLean's not a striker. Like
no. And Fletcher's about 38.
Yeah, and even they haven't tried the attempt to bicycle kick. Like that's Fletcher was a great striker. Like still can do a job and still can dish in a few goals. But when you look at Stoke lads, like you have Joe Allen, Obi Mikel. I think it's Sam Klukas up in the centre park. But you have Jack Clark, Fletcher, and McLean playing basically as your front three, kind of just outside your front three.
Yeah.
Not good enough. It's now I know O'Neill leads. Like O'Neill's a great manager. Like, and there's money at Stoke, but they need to get two or three good strikers in. If they had one decent striker, just say for argument's sake, Ivan Toney was there, then it's a totally different proposition. But look, they're just not to be where they are with the team they have.
Yeah,
they're lucky, and that's the truth. Stoke are very blessed to be where they are with the team they have right now. Now it will change. I think a lot's going to change the next year, and they just need to get in one or two good strikers, and then if they get the goals, they'll be fine.
Yeah, and you look at O'Neill. He's been there about a year now. They were dead and buried. They were in League One when he took over, more or less. There was no hope for them. No. So for them to be about a year on from that, 9th in the table, 6 points off the playoffs, like you said, without the top-class striker, that just shows how good a manager the guy is.
Unbelievable. And like as you said, look, you look at the players there, like it's he's got the back playing well because they're obviously not conceding much. Goalkeepers, grand, but it's just like McLean is a quality player, always there just on the wing coming into that box, and Fletcher is Fletcher, like But it's as you say, 2 or 3 players, lads, and they are going to be a top 6 team, no problem. Like Sam Vokes, I can't say much about Sam Vokes. He's been around a long time. I think he was at Barnsley for a while as well. But look, get in 2 or 3 decent players, and Stoke will be a top 6 team every season if they don't go up.
I agree.
Yeah. Absolutely, as long as they can hang on to their manager, because he's going to be wanted by clubs.
Oh yeah, tactically he's a genius, lads. He's like a Brendan Rodgers, or he knows the game inside and out. Like, so if you have him with a more established team and have money in this and that man can make them superstars. Like,
we know how well he did in the League of Ireland at Rovers, and then he went and what he did for Northern Ireland in terms of qualifying them for tournaments.
Unbelievable.
And now what he's done for Stoke, where they were almost relegated to now almost being in the playoffs. I mean, if you're a Premier League club, he's got to be one of the managers you're thinking, I might take a punt on this guy.
Of course, but if you look at even the managers that get teams promoted, like Norwich and the likes of Watford and all that, like if you're looking for a proper manager, a manager for a long-term assessment, you're going to go to Michael O'Neill, because tactically he proves it every week. He could go to Wickham, and Wickham could draw every game and probably stay up. So he knows how to work with the players, and as I said, Stoke are just lacking out 1 or 2 bit of a spark up front. If they had it, they'd easily be in the top 6.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. We move on then to the
final game. Get back to him before we move on. Just 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, just before we do that, because otherwise I'll be annoyed.
No worries.
Passion breaks are essential.
Yeah, that's it. Like your man, was it
shitting yourself on telly?
Birmingham a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
When he was on a hat-trick for Arsenal. They had to take him off.
Yeah.
They had to take him off with about 10, 15 minutes to go because he had to go for a shit.
Fuck's sake. It happens.
Yeah. He didn't do a Gary Lineker on it and just shit on the bench. But
I remember that.
It's against Ireland in the World Cup.
Yeah. They used to put the old knocker out of the side of the shorts and go for a slash in the field.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. Good times. How's all the family, Steve? All good?
They're great.
That's good.
Everyone's good. Everyone's good. Ooh, just looking to do a few more bits now during the week. Send out some more emails and that. Now that I'm not walking miles every day, I have more time to do that.
Yeah.
Be wrecked.
It's hard, isn't it? It's just, I suppose there's no atmosphere really for anyone, like, because we're all just in a fucking slump over this COVID shit, like.
Yeah, that's it. It's like same thing every day. It wears you down a bit, like that. That's why it's good to keep busy, I suppose.
I tell you, I'll appreciate a coffee when we get back out. You know, like small, like when we used to meet for a coffee and stuff. You know, that'll be like Christmas though when we get to do that.
That's it. And I'm going to just keep pushing people till we can get a few more interviews in. I know there's a few local ones I could get all right, but we'll go to them. You know, next.
Maybe get on to Owen and get some of the acts that were at Cyprus Avenue. Talk about how they done that.
Oh yeah, I could definitely talk to some of them that played that time. Like they'll always be up for a chat.
Yeah.
Those lads that we covered, some of them were very good. Like, but I've put a bit of research into them because we know a ferocious amount about them. But
well,
we'll definitely get those guys if we need them. They're always there. I'll probably get to Franks and Walters as well at some stage.
Yeah, they're brilliant. Yeah, I found when I got back the laptop in my head, I was saying to myself, I'm going to burn myself out now and fucking send emails and stuff. But I think I only sent out 5 or 6 emails for interviews. So I think next week is a different week where I'll be refreshed because, as I said, I have a lot of kind of on my plate now with Georgie and this management crew because Georgie's only like he's a part owner of a fellow called Jason Davis. So I was back and forth with him on Zoom and shit, like, and I'm like, fucking hell, like, I'm like, you know, I need to be educated here, lads, on what do we get from it, like, and like it's, you know what I mean, there's pros and cons, like, and I wanted to make sure that, like, you know what I mean, it's not something fucking stupid, like, you know what I mean, but it's they have a team where they'll commercially try and brand us there, and then say if they get someone like fucking BMW to sponsor, they give her 10 grand, they take 10% then, so that's how they make their money. And I was like, what the fuck do I get? So if I'm looking after Willie O'Connor and Patrick Horgan, you get 10%. I'm like, what do you get then, like? Or we might try and take 5%, like. So I'm like, I'm getting €500. So there's pros and cons, but look, I'm still trying to educate myself. It's fucking.
But look, it's handy money when it comes in. Because I know he was talking about doing something with myself as well, regards to it. With more like actors and things, I'd have to, like yourself, I'd have to know how it would work because actors are not sports stars. It's very different. Like.
Yeah, it's Steve, as I said, look, with these fellas, not Georgie necessarily, but a lot of these fellas are just they're fucking bluffers. Like
we saw one of them down in where did we see him? Clonakilty. He was.
Oh yeah, because the likes of Mark now, you know, Mark has gone to Kerry, like.
Yeah.
Mark has been looking for me to kind of help him out as like managing him and that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
And a few other actors, but like again, I have to see what it will be because it's a lot of effort to be putting in.
And also, actors don't get that much money either.
Yeah.
No, well, he'd be one that would be in kind of bigger productions, like, you know what I mean. But it'd be looking after them kind of a thing. No, there would be very little money in it. Like that's the thing.
That is the thing. Like your best bet now was to ring, you know, the guy that you brought over there a few times, Chris.
Chris, yeah. Well, I talk to Chris all the time.
He'd tell you straight away the pros and cons, like, you know what I mean? Like when I spoke to Patrick Horgan, Hoggy was like fucking like, I was like, I'm gonna cut to the bullshit, Hoggy. I was like, I know this is what's gonna happen and this is what they're gonna try and take.
Yeah.
He's like, what happens if someone comes to me directly because he has no agent, like people go to him directly for deals. I was like, that's your own business. I was like, you deal with that.
Yeah.
I just keep that in a hush, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So fuck that, like, you know what I mean? It's all a learning curve.
It is. So like I said, I'd have to see. Like I don't mind helping Mark, if that's just what it comes to it. If it's just me looking after Mark, I don't mind.
Yeah.
And one or two others. But we'll wait and see. And that wouldn't be like his agent. He'd have to have another agent who would deal with all the. But that would be more like helping him with like auditions and prepping for him and making sure he's looked after and that kind of stuff and sets.
Yeah, I work with him.
Yeah, but that kind of a thing. Are you good there, so Phil?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on to the last one, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we move on to the last game of the day yesterday. We were talking about Stephen Fletcher as a 38-year-old, but a 37-year-old was the star yesterday in the Wickham Nottingham Forest game. Glenn Murray didn't do brilliant at Watford, didn't get much of a look in. But Chris Hughton was his manager at Brighton when he did very, very well.
Yeah.
Back with Chris Hughton and back scoring goals.
Yeah.
Two yesterday.
He was very good yesterday.
Great lob for the first one. Took it really, really well. Then he kind of won the penalty himself.
Yeah.
Where he's just used all his 37 years experience to make sure he was between both defenders and one of them was going to bring him down.
Yeah.
And he, lucky, I would say, the penalty. The keeper got a good hand to it, but it still went in.
Still went in. You take it.
Yeah.
I reckon if he stayed on, he would have got the hat-trick. I think he came off around the 70-minute mark. But it just goes to show, lads, man management is everything. Hughton obviously knows him. He came in, he scored 2 goals. If he stayed at Watford, he probably would have scored all season. So manager, club makes a difference, you know. We see players at teams, they don't shine. They go to a different club and they shine. So Hughton knew what he was doing, and it was a massive win for Forest.
Huge.
That's it. Big win for them. But again, it's like Forest seem to be like in good form. They've won, like we said, 2 in a row now.
Yeah, but not maybe.
Yeah, but still they're only 4 points clear of Birmingham in the relegation zone.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you how good form, other than Birmingham, who have like dropped dramatically down the table, it shows how good the form of the teams at the bottom has been.
Yeah.
It's
That despite Forest's best effort, they're still not clear. Like, had they lost yesterday, they'd have only been a point above Birmingham.
Yeah.
Phil said it, Steve. It's like you look at Preston and you look where they are and how they're still there. Then you look at like a team like Forest, who we believe have been doing so well these last couple of games, and then they're still in that relegation battle. So there's a massive drop, or you know, if you're in the mid-table, you're always going to be thereabouts. It just goes to show like how crazy the championship is.
It's mad, but like we said, we all love Wycombe and they're a great story. And the saddest thing is the season they've come up where the fans haven't been allowed in to watch them.
Yeah.
I think one game was it they had 1,000 fans or something like that at one of the matches.
Yeah.
It's awful, but like they've lost 4 and drawn 1 the last 5. They've just 3 wins in their 27 games. They've only scored 18 goals in the 27 games. It's not looking good for Wycombe.
No, it's horrible. But look, the great escape can still happen. They're rock bottom at 16 points. Obviously, 9 points behind Sheffield Wednesday with a game in hand. Look, it's still doable, but look, unfortunately, I believe Wycombe will go down, and I hate seeing it. I'm a Liverpool fan. We waited 30 years to win the league. Fans could not celebrate. For Wycombe, this is going to hurt, like, because, as you say, if the fans were there all season, lads, with Wycombe, they would have been thereabouts. Easily top, 16th, 17th, no problem.
Yeah.
It's a tough one for them too. They had another goal disallowed yesterday that would have made it 1-1, I think.
Yeah.
And they've had so many goals disallowed.
Yeah,
as well. Nothing going right for them. But
there was a time there where every week there was something going against them.
Yeah, they've been unlucky. I think they've had 3 wins all season. They've probably drawn 7 to 10 games and obviously lost 18 or so. But like it's they've been unlucky, and it's normally luck turns. You know what I mean? Normally it does turn, but it hasn't turned.
No, and a great manager as well. That's just so positive about everything. So we will leave the matches there now. We'll have a look ahead, but first we'll go through our usuals. The best goal of the weekend?
I think Millwall's second one.
Nice interplay there between the two lads.
Glenn Murray.
Yeah, Glenn Murray's lob.
Yeah, Murray for me.
Murray for you, yeah.
Yeah, Murray.
I'm going to go with the Cork boy. I'm going to go with Hourihane on Friday night.
Yeah.
His strike. The best player of the week?
I think the Brentford keeper.
Yeah, Rhea. Very, very good.
Yeah.
Kept them in that.
I'll go for Ivan Toney. I'm just a massive fan. And when he's on form, he's on form.
Yeah. Again, I would agree with Jerry. I think Rhea was brilliant as well. Could go to either now.
Yeah.
Wonder if we got man of the match actually yesterday. It's something I'll have to look up. Because Tony scored 2 and set 1 up. So I go with Tony as well. The best team?
What?
Yeah.
I was going to say Millwall, but Brentford, I think.
Brentford looked very impressive, didn't they? Brentford, Swansea, Millwall, any of them could get it really.
Yeah.
They're all good. And any shocks this week or
Millwall's going 4. Millwall's going 4.
Millwall's scored 4 goals. Yeah. That's it. A couple of games midweek that we will look ahead to. Tuesday night, Rotherham, home to Cardiff, one of their games in hand.
Great game, lads.
A draw.
A draw? Yeah, I reckon maybe a score draw there, 1-1 or something.
Yeah, I'll have to go for the same. I think they'll go take it too, to be honest.
Yeah. And then we have the bottom two playing each other. Sheffield Wednesday home to Wickham.
I think Wickham, hopefully.
You think hoping for Wickham?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. 2-1.
Yeah, I think that could be a game as well that Wickham could win, and that could really put Wednesday in trouble. But I'll go for a home win there though, 1-0 to Wednesday. And then we have on Wednesday night, like we said, Brentford's game in hand. They win it, they go top of the table, and they're away to Reading.
2-2, lads.
Yeah.
2-2. You're going for a draw?
Yeah.
I think Brentford might come out on top here again in kind of a high scoring one. Like the Bristol game a few weeks ago, maybe 3-2 to Brentford. Yeah. They've scored so many goals lately. Did we say it's something like 14 goals in 3 games?
Yeah.
Madness. Then Friday night's match is a big one, and one we'll be watching with all the Irish lads for sure. It's Blackburn home to Preston.
Yeah, Blackburn.
You're going for Blackburn? I fancy Preston to nick this one away from home.
Yeah. Like, obviously, we want to see Preston win all the time, but it's just, they're just not doing it at the moment. Obviously, Chad Evans got a good goal, and, that's a good sign. Sinclair was unlucky. But look, I hope they do it. I always want to see, Preston not do well.
Yeah, I think Preston might do it. I think it's going to be a great game. It could go either way. Because, like I said, and it's just always good to see the Irish lads playing, and it's always good to see Adam Armstrong play. So that's going to be a fun one on TV Friday. Saturday then we have the games Forest Bournemouth.
That's an early kickoff, isn't it? Is that 12:30?
That's the early kickoff, yeah.
I'm going to say Forest.
Forest at home.
Forest.
I reckon maybe a draw on this one.
Doesn't the morning starts always catch a...
They can do.
Yeah, Forest 1-0.
Yeah. Birmingham, Luton.
Birmingham.
You think Birmingham at home? I think this could be the nil all of this week. Cardiff against Coventry.
Cardiff.
Coventry. I think Cardiff will be tired, lads.
Yeah, I think Coventry might win this one as well. I think just O'Hare, when he hears he's going to be called up to the Irish team, inspires him. Derby, Middlesbrough.
Banker for a draw.
Derby.
Yeah, Derby. I think it could be a draw as well, this one. Huddersfield, Wickham.
Wickham to win 2 in a row. Be Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think this might be a draw. I think this might be 1-1 or something like that. Norwich, who need a win badly against Stoke, who haven't won in 10.
Stoke 1-0. Put all your money on it.
Yeah. 1-0 Norwich.
1-0
Stoke.
Go 1-0 Norwich. They've won so many 1-0 games this season. Reading home to Millwall.
Reading.
Yeah, I think Reading on this one as well.
Reading 4-1.
Yeah, Reading 4-1. Two kind of teams that are in a bit of form then playing each other. Rotherham home to QPR.
QPR.
And QPR to win this one.
3-2 QPR.
Yeah. I fancy Rotherham to keep the run going and win this one maybe 2-0. Sheffield Wednesday home to Swansea.
Yeah, Swansea.
Yeah, I think it has to be Swansea. I mean, Wednesday aren't scoring enough and Swansea are so good back. Then another one, Watford home to Bristol City.
Watford.
The team's struggling. Watford at home. Surely they won't lose 2 in a row at home, so it has to be Watford. And then we have a game on Sunday to wrap it all up. Brentford against Barnsley.
Brentford.
It has to be the favourites for that one, but you never know. But I reckon Brentford to win that one handily enough. 3-1 maybe.
Yeah.
So that'll be it, I suppose, for this week. We won't have a midweek show this week on Thursday or Friday like we usually do because there's only 3 games, and with the weather coming in, how many of them even go ahead? Who knows? Yeah. So we'll be back with our usual one recorded on the Sunday to be out for Monday.
Yeah.
Next week when we'll have all those games we just talked about to go through. So it's going to be a busy one next Sunday that we go through, lads. But it'll be a lot of fun, and who knows who'll be in relegation at the end of that and who'll be in the top 2 spots after that, because a lot of football next week.
Yep.
So thanks for listening, everyone.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Good stuff.